Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer55551, and I am back with a My 2 Cent video for this week, for the week of January 5th to 11th, 2025. And I just want to let people know that I am safe. I'm fully aware of what's going on out, the LA fires and everything that has been going on. Very devastated, although I heard the death toll seems to be at 10, so yes, unfortunately there were some lives lost, but so far it hasn't grown, at least not yet or anything like that. I live in Orange County and everything, and also I'm not being impacted or anything like that. I'm keeping an eye on the situation, but have not been impacted by this at all. But yeah, I am fully aware of what's been going on in LA County, particularly around Hollywood and Los Angeles, and yeah, that is pretty bad out there though, and everything like that. So hopefully a lot of those folks, they can get the fire under control over there, and hopefully the folks can hopefully rebuild their lives and maybe rebuild their homes and everything. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned though, I'm okay and everything like that. I just want to get that out and everything. But anyway, I got 4 stories to cover this week. A lot of it mostly on Switch 2 and on Microsoft, including a rumor about the possibility that the Halo Master Chief Collection could be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 and also the PS5. There are reports about the whole situation surrounding Game Pass, and maybe it's not making as much money as Microsoft had hoped for, at least according to one analyst though. An interesting idea with the Switch 2 controller, or at least the Joy-Con, in which it could be used as a mouse. And supposedly one Switch title that seemed to have been picked up by Drake81 over a port of the possibility that Gotham Knights could make its way over to the Switch 2. If you're interested in where I got the source of these information, links will be in the description down below. And of course, if there's any part of the video you wish to skip to, timestamps will also be in the description as well. But before we get started, I like to do what I like to call the quick My 2 Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of details. The first one has to do with another thing with dealing with the California wildfires in LA County is developer studio Riot, I believe that's the studio, I'm not 100% sure, are telling staff to get to safety in the wake of the LA fires and everything like that. So far, there's been no report if the building where they work has been damaged or any of the employees have lost any homes during the fire or anything like that. But clearly, this is something that basically is, yeah, I think out of abundance of caution, I think it's probably wise if there is a mandatory evacuation, they probably need to really follow those mandatory evacuations clearly though. So hopefully the staff is safe, hopefully everyone is safe and everything like that and all. We also have a new trailer for Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. The game will be out, I believe, in March of this year and everything. It did show some gameplay, but it did also showed off some new content and everything, and I'm very curious to see how this new content is going to be when the game comes out in March. We also learned that Platinum is celebrating 15 years of Bayonetta, and supposedly will be holding an event this year, which is going to be very interesting because there have been a lot of staff that have been leaving Platinum lately, and it has raised questions about that company's future and everything. We also learned that basically Digital Foundry has weighed in on supposedly the leaked Switch 2 motherboard that's out and everything like that, and they sort of weighed in on their kind of position on the situation. So it certainly is interesting indeed. Not to mention an article from WCCF Tech sort of has basically looked at the Switch 2 supposedly docked, and it will use a 60-watt charger and all. Continue on with Platinum, a follow-up on that one. One of the veterans who worked on the Bayonetta series is currently leaving and will be going over to the PlayStation and all, so we'll see how this person does working over at PlayStation and everything like that. But it does raise questions about Platinum's future in general, with a lot of these staff leaving and everything. We also learned that an Xbox Developers Direct will be returning this month to highlight 4 titles that will be released in 2025. We know one of them will be Doom the Dark Age, but we also believe that there will be an unknown title that has yet to been announced, so I'm very curious to see what that title might be. And finally, Time Extension did an article that did a follow-up over a report that made the claim over the idea that the Punch-Out series may be dead and everything like that. And it turned out to be that wasn't the case or anything. So it's an interesting article to check out, though. I seriously doubt Nintendo will want to kill the series or put it on hiatus or something like that. I mean, we've seen some of their series has been dormant, but have seen some resurrections. I mean, Metroid has with, Metroid Prime Remaster, and now upcoming Metroid Prime 4, to even the Fire Emblem series, and even the Xenoblade Chronicles series. So I have my doubts that the Punch-Out series is dead and everything like that. And in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My Two Cent, we are learning that the writers for the Sonic movie is considering using, an outer space adventure into the future and all, which would be very interesting to see if they do take that approach. I believe the early 2000s, I believe it was 2003, Sonic X cartoon, I think one of the seasons did that when they went into outer space and everything. So it is possible they could draw some inspiration on that. Maybe Sonic 4 will have some sort of outer space kind of thing, but we'll have to wait and see though. But it's obviously an idea that's being floated around at this time. And last but not least, this is a report from the Direct that indicates that Marvel Studios might be considering recasting, T'Challa, or the main character from that was played by the late Chadwick Boseman, who appeared in Avengers, Captain America: Civil War, the first Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity Stone, and Endgame and everything. That would be interesting if Marvel does that, because I do remember when Chaz Boseman passed away, there were no plans to recast, his character and all. And now with this case, though, that's going to be very interesting. And one of the speculation could be something to do with the multiverse that might be in, upcoming, Avengers movie. Like, I think one of the upcoming Avengers movies. So it will be very interesting to see how this all plays out, assuming this report is true and all. Okay, with the Quick My Two Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of the Quick My Two Cent, we'll get started with our first story. And this one has to do with an interesting Switch 2 game, or supposedly rumored Switch 2 game that might be making its way, over to the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, what we're seeing lately is a lot of the floodgates have started to open with a lot of these so-called rumors or so-called reports coming out on the internet about information about the Switch 2, ranging from the motherboard to basically what many believe what the system might look like. Although, again, Nintendo kind of has toyed with the whole situation and kind of said, though, that this information is not official and everything like that, which kind of gives the impression that some of this information may be true. Although, again, a lot of them are just rumors at this time, though, and so you do have to take a lot of this information with a grain of salt. One information that seemed to have popped out, and this one comes from the YouTuber Drake81, recently posted a video and what seems to be the idea that Gotham Knights, a game that was originally released on the original Xbox, the Xbox Series X and X, and the PS5, is going to make its way over to the Nintendo Switch, or at least according to what this report is. In an article from Nintendo Life, it says, according to what the article says, it says, according to a leaking resume from QLOC senior producer, spotted by YouTuber Drake81, where the 2022 action game is still listed for 2 unreleased platforms. The senior producer listed his work on the Unreal Engine 4 CPU gameplay optimization for the PS5 version of the game, but he also has claimed he has done the same, as well as lead Vulkan rendering duties on 2 unspecific platforms and all. It is worth pointing out, though, that supposedly the game is not going to be coming to the PS4 or the Xbox One and everything like that. And the game also supposedly was not launched in the best state or anything like that, although supposedly the game did get some post-launch patches and everything like that. Considering this is coming from Drake81, I'm not going to outright dismiss what he's saying and everything like that. I'm somewhat cautious, but given his track record, I'm not going to completely ignore that at all. The idea of Gotham Knights coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 would be kind of interesting indeed to see how well that game is received and all, because I remember when that game launched, it was met with some mixed response and everything like that. And maybe this is to try to make up for how the launch of the Batman Arkham trilogy on the Nintendo Switch turned out, which did not do very well or anything like that, which is a shame, because the idea of a portable device to bring those games along with you would have been a great thing to add and everything like that. But who knows, maybe they'll patch it up for the Switch 2 or maybe re-release a Switch 2 version or something like that. But in either case, I mean, if this is true, that certainly would be interesting indeed, though. It would be very interesting to see how the game would run on the Switch 2. Would it improve over what was on the PS5 or the Xbox Series X and S? Or would it make things a little bit worse? And the fact that this is not coming to the PS4 or Xbox One also makes it kind of interesting indeed and all. So overall, I would say very interesting on this rumor, though. We'll still have to wait and see when Nintendo officially reveals it. Maybe we'll learn about what games may or may not be coming to the Switch 2 and everything like that. But still, I wouldn't be against the idea of Gotham Knights coming to the Switch 2. Whether or not that will click with audience, especially those who are planning to get a Switch 2 when Nintendo officially reveals it, that remains to be seen at this time. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2, and this one has to do with supposedly there is some sort of patent or some sort of feature we might see with the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, and one of those might be the ability to use it as possibly a mouse and everything like that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at a report coming out as to what the so-called Switch 2 Joy-Cons might have a interesting feature in terms of if this report turns out to be true and all. Now, I'm not a PC gamer or anything like that. I never really got into PC gaming, but I don't deny that there is an audience out there that really enjoys that, especially if they like to use, the mouse and keyboard as their setup and all. And you know what? That's fine. I personally prefer a controller, but everyone has their own setup and their own way of how they like to play video games and everything like that. Now, in terms of seeing mouse and keyboard support on consoles, there have been some for different games. I think Xbox does support mouse and keyboard. Switch, I think certain games do, to be exact, though. And we've seen developers that have made certain games to try to mimic or get as close as they can to a mouse and keyboard. I mean, I remember during the Wii era, we saw something like, say, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption had it set up where you could make it as close to a mouse and keyboard as possible, to, I think, the high voltage game and published by Sega, The Conduct, if I'm saying the name correctly and all, did have some degree of controls that you could set up to be as close to a mouse and a keyboard, but not 100% accurate like a mouse and keyboard setup, to be exact. So this new report that seems to be coming out from from supposedly from this manufacturing might indicate that this might be one of the Switch 2 Joy-Con's hidden feature, assuming this is true and everything like that. From an article on GameSpot, it reads that, quote, 3 new Switch Joy-Con images popped up on Reddit over the weekend, allegedly from a Chinese manufacturer, showcasing a black controller with a light blue interior. Video Game Chronicles then reported that the eagle-eyed fan believes that they spotted an optics sensor on the side of the Joy-Cons. That would mean that the controller could function like a PC mouse, offering a new method to play Switch 2 games. Supposedly, shipping data from Switch 2 also point to mouse-like functionality per another Reddit post. It's worth pointing out someone posted on X, or formerly known as Twitter, known as Centaur Leak, seems to point out and said, quote, the new Joy-Cons appear to have an optic sensor similar to that a mouse on the side, so people are speculating now this could be used as a mouse. If true, the Switch wouldn't be the first gaming handheld to offer a mouse-like feature built into the device. The Lenovo Legion Go has detachable controllers like the Switch with the right gamepad able to function like a mouse. Now, assuming this information is true, assuming it is, I'm very curious to see how this would work or anything like that. Would there be certain games that may require you to use the Joy-Cons like a mouse-like shaped thing? I mean, are there options? I mean, that's what I'm very curious. Are they going to design a game specifically for that? Or will it be like a game that would use that and the controller and all? I mean, could something like, say, if Nintendo were to do this, like a Super Mario Maker 3 or even a brand new Mario Paint, will they design it in a way where you do have to use the Joy-Con controllers like a mouse and everything like that? So it does open the door to the possibility of it. It would be interesting if this turned out to be true, how many developers, particularly third-party developers, utilize this though. And while the Switch certainly had some interesting features, not every developer took advantage of it. I think ranging from the IR scanning to the HD Rumble. I'm not sure how many developers took advantage of the HD Rumble and all. So it certainly is an interesting gimmick if this turns out to be true, but it really does come down to how many developers will utilize this though. And if it is something that might interest developers, it could open the door to maybe more of PC-like games that use only a mouse and keyboard. It could open the door to bring those games over to the Switch too. I mean, that's a possibility, but again, time will ultimately tell if that is the case. So overall, it is an interesting feature if this turns out to be true, and I'm very curious to see how developers will utilize it though. But whether it's something that developers will utilize or something that's completely forgotten, like some of the features on the Switch though, where it had some interesting features, but it's forgotten for a lot of people, that however remains to be seen at this time. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with a report that's coming out about titles that are put on Game Pass and how they supposedly will lose 80% of their sales, at least according to this one reporter and all. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at supposedly a report coming out in regards of Game Pass in general. Now, Game Pass, for some people, there are those who like it and there are those who hate it though. I do think that there are definitely benefits from Game Pass and all, the fact that you get to try the game out first and in a way kind of see if it's something that would click with you or not. And if you do decide to buy it, at least through the Xbox store and all, you could get a discount on that game. So I definitely think there are certainly some benefits towards it. But at the same time, there's also been some criticism about it, including that developers are not, getting money, or some developers have claimed that they have, or their games have done well, others have not and all. So in a way, Game Pass to some folks is kind of a double-edged sword. There are some good things that come out of it though, and there are of course some bad things that unfortunately come out of it though. And this new report from an individual working at GameIndustry.biz points out that Game Pass continues to be a double-edged sword and kind of split those who like the idea and those who don't. From an article on Pure Xbox, excuse me, it reads, a new Q&A has dropped today from former Game Industry Biz reporter, sorry about that, Chris String, and it sheds some perhaps unfortunate light on Xbox Game Pass and how much it can hurt game sales. Although each game-specific numbers can vary, which I do kind of think that's true, and this is just accelerated, or if I'm saying it incorrectly, information that has been passed around, Dring says that games that are on Game Pass can expect to lose around 80% of its expected premium sales on Xbox. This is what he has said. Quote, games that are on Game Pass can expect to lose around 80% of expected premium sales on Xbox. That's the figure that gets thrown around. It's less if it's a big mainstream release, but generally, looking at how low Hellblade 2 charted, or when Indiana Jones came out, or even Starfield, Starfield, Game Pass hurts sales of those titles on Xbox. Although there's some reports coming out that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle actually did very well and everything like that. But anyway, continuing on, Drink went on to say that in this case, it can be quite beneficial for Microsoft to bring those games to multiple platforms. The hype behind a big Xbox Game Pass release can have a strong impact on its launch elsewhere, says the report, saying, quote, if it's a game on multiple platforms, it can be beneficial. That surge in players on one Xbox can have a strong impact on sales on PlayStation, for instance. According to it, so most of this feels like information we've heard before, of course, but the 80% figure is quite a notable one, and it perhaps explains why Team Xbox has decided to press on so aggressively with its multi-platform plans. Games aren't getting any cheap to make. Case in point with the modern Call of Duty Modern Warfare, the Call of Duty games, which the latest one, Black Ops, I think it was Black Ops 4 or Black Ops 6. Apparently, the budget for that one was pretty big and everything. And with this new approach, Xbox Game Pass can sustain subscribers and drum up excitement, while PS5 brings in critical game sales revenues for Microsoft. Of course, in case of third-party Xbox Game Pass titles, Microsoft pays publishers to put their games on the service in the first place, which helps offset the loss in sales. These figures can go into the millions potentially. So, assuming what Chris Drake is saying is true, it kind of continues to reinforce this argument of how Game Pass is kind of a double-edged sword. There are some benefits to it, but there are also some criticism to it. And it could explain a little bit of why Microsoft is pushing more of this, putting their games on multiple platforms and all. Although one could argue to a certain degree that Microsoft really hasn't put a lot of effort into, why you should own an Xbox and everything. But on the other hand, their services, Xbox services, has been going up and they have been making money. Maybe not on the same as the hardware sale compared to how Sony and Nintendo are. So it Game Pass is still kind of viewed as sort of a double-edged sword. Some are going to like it, some are hate it, and I think this report isn't going to change much. I think there are some benefits with Game Pass, but there's also some not so great benefits, and perhaps some criticism towards Game Pass in general. So overall, I still stand behind my position on the fact that Game Pass is certainly a double-edged sword. I like it. I think there are certainly some benefits of it, and I have had Game Pass for a while, and I still enjoy it though. But I can also understand some of the criticisms level towards Game Pass in general. Okay, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get to our fourth and final part, and this one has to do with a report of the possibility that Halo could be making its way over to the Switch 2 and the PS5 possibly. So we'll take a quick break and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fourth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one we're going to be taking a look at the possibility that Halo, or at least the Halo Master Collection, could be coming to not only the PS5 but the Nintendo Switch 2 and all. Now, as some of you are probably aware of, Microsoft has been taking a much different approach this generation with, outside of basically bringing their games more and more to other platforms. We've seen that with games like Hi-Fi Rush make its way over to the PS5. We've also seen, games like Pendament and Grounded have made their way also to the PS5, I believe so, and of course, and the Nintendo Switch. Plus, I think Sea of Thieves also made its way to the PS5 as well. And so, it definitely has been a major push for Microsoft and all. But some of the games we have not yet seen, though, and many have questioned whether they will make that jump or not, or go multi-platform, has been, the major, games like Fable, to Halo, to Gears. and everything like that, though, as there have been some reports claiming that there was a red line. However, that report also got debunked at the same time. And now this new report, at least from Nate the Hate, which, if that is true, this would be very, very interesting to see Microsoft do this if they decide to bring something like the Halo Master Chief Collection, not only to the PS5, but the Nintendo Switch 2 and all. So in an article from Nintendo Life, it reads that, quote, known insider Nate the Hate has claimed in a new podcast that Microsoft will further its multi-platform ambition in 2025 by bringing both Halo the Master Chief Collection and Flight Simulator to the Switch 2 and the PS5. The insider, who previously correctly claimed that Indiana Jones and the Great Circle will eventually come to the PS5 in 2025, follows its release on Xbox, elaborated on his statement and said, any Xbox games that comes out this year will also at some point find its way to the PS5 and or Switch 2. It's just a matter of when. He claimed that Microsoft will be a very big supporter of the upcoming Switch 2, only porting its current Switch titles, i.e. permanently grounded, with upgrade resolutions and feature. It's no surprise that Microsoft is shifting its strategy somewhat to embrace more multi-platform support after it struggled to grow its own user base, but this is perhaps the clear indication yet as to the extent of its plans. Halo in particular would be significant as it releases on the Switch 2, given the franchise status as a significant Xbox exclusive, with many holding it as possibly Xbox's most important IP, along with Gears of War, which that one has also been rumored to coming to the PS5, maybe the Switch. Same with Final Fantasy VII Remake and Rebirth. There are reports coming out that those games could make their way over to actually not only the Xbox, but also the not the Xbox Series X and S, but also the Nintendo Switch 2 as well. Anyway, continuing on, the Master Chief Collection, they point out, originally launched in 2014, contains Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo 3 OST, Halo 4, and Halo Reach. Now, I am very curious to see if this turns out to be true. Again, I am taking it with a grain of salt at this time. We don't have any official confirmation, but given Nate the Hate's history, I wouldn't outright dismiss what he's saying is absolutely false in either way. It will be very interesting to see how Halo, the Master Chief Collection, basically runs on something like the Nintendo Switch 2, assuming we have the official confirmation of the hardware and everything like that from Nintendo and all. And I do wonder if this opens the door to the possibility of something like, say, I don't know, like Halo Infinite making its way over to the Switch 2. There's that possibility. Maybe this opens the door to other games like maybe Lost Odyssey, to maybe the Fable games maybe making their way over to the Switch 2. So this is a very interesting situation to see play out and all, and I'm very curious to see how this game would run if it turns out to be true. Do I think it is a possibility that Nate Hate could be correct? I would say, based off of what we've been seeing from Microsoft lately, though, I tend to believe what Nate the Hate is saying, though. Given the direction Microsoft has been going with a lot of their games and the Xbox brand, it would not surprise me if to see something like Halo the Master Chief Collection make its way over to the Nintendo Switch 2. I mean, it's possible Microsoft might be testing the water to see how Nintendo fans or those who own a Switch 2 react to playing something like the Halo Master Chief Collection. And maybe it will do well, maybe it won't. We'll have to wait and see. And if this game does come to the Switch, the question remains is, will it be all the games in one Switch cart or Switch 2 cart? Or are we in a situation where it's like, you'll get maybe one or two or some of the games, but you have to download the rest and everything like that. So it remains to be seen just how this will play out. And if it is coming, who's porting the game? Is it by Microsoft themselves, or are they going to like another studio to help port the game, like we've seen before, like how Bethesda went to Panic Button to let them handle Doom Eternal, and Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus, to basically CD Projekt Red going to Saber Interactive to handle the Nintendo Switch port of Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So certainly this would be interesting if this does turn out to be true, but like anything, it is a rumor for now. We'll have to wait and see if that does happen. Maybe it will get announced during basically maybe when Nintendo finally shows off the Nintendo Switch 2. Maybe it will get announced there and everything like that. And on a side note, though, interestingly enough, that there's also rumors going around that the Xbox Series S could have an impact on the Nintendo Switch 2, as some may actually develop for the Xbox Series S as a way to help bring the games over to the Nintendo Switch 2, which would be interesting if that is true. But I think for any developer that's going to bring their games to multiple platforms, whether it's to the different consoles, to the PC, I really think, and I could be wrong on this though, I'm not a developer or anything, but I think that it's important to develop for the console first. Particularly, I mean, for the Xbox Series X and S, I find it amazing developers have decided, okay, let's develop for the Series S first and then make our way over to the Series X and everything like that. Sometimes I do kind of question some of the decisions some of these developers will make and all, but if this is true, this is certainly interesting to see if this does happen and all. So overall, I would say it would be very surprising to see something like the Halo Master Chief Collection make its way over to the Nintendo Switch 2, if that does happen or not though. And that could, if it does go to the Nintendo Switch 2 and it does well, it may open the floodgates to something like the Gears of War series making their way over, maybe to this Nintendo Switch 2, possibly, to even the Fable series, to maybe something like South of Midnight, or Evolve, or even Outer Worlds 2 and everything. So it opens the door to that possibility, but time will ultimately tell if this rumor turns out to be true or not, though. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the idea of Gotham Knight that could be making its way over to the Nintendo Switch 2? Do you think this game should come over to the Nintendo Switch 2 at all? Do you think this game should not come over? Do you think they should try to redo, Batman Arkham Trilogy, or give it an update to make it run better, maybe on the Nintendo Switch 2 and all? What are your thoughts about the idea of a feature like using the Switch 2 Joy-Cons as a mouse? Do you think this is a neat feature in any way? Do you think this feature could work if this report turns out to be true? Or do you think it's just going to be another stupid gimmick in any way? What are your thoughts about this article about Game Pass and about Game Pass titles losing around 80% of their sales and all? Do you think this report is accurate? Do you think it's being blown way out of proportion and everything like that? Does this change your view on Game Pass, or doesn't change your view at all? And what are your thoughts about the idea of the possibility that something like Halo Master Chief Collection could make its way not only to the PS5 but the Nintendo Switch 2? Would you be open to the idea of something like that coming to the Nintendo Switch 2? Would you play it? Do you think this could have a negative impact on Microsoft in any way at all, or do you think it will not have a negative impact at all? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You can do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, assuming you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye!